Good morning. That's right. Talk back to me. Good morning. My name is Carol Jackson, and I run an organization in Memphis, Tennessee named Families Matter. Thank you, Commissioner, and the advisory board, all of you who selected Affirm, A Father's Involvement Really Matters, to present to you all today. With me today, what we did, what Families Matter, what we decided to do was go and get those people that could help us do what we want to do. So we solicited the help of Misha Henderson, who's the vice president of Maximus, and we also wanted a national expert who knows some of the things that we're talking about. That's Dr. Jeff Johnson. And you see what organization that he leads in Washington, D.C. If you will go ahead, yes, thank you. So going to our vision, our values, our proposition, our problem, and our population. What we're talking about is, again, Affirm. A father's involvement really matters. So we're talking about, our vision is to permanently transform the way low-income fathers are viewed, and then create some social nets around them. The value proposition is build capacity to reduce dependency, investing in some of those fathers, and to change the trajectory of their children's lives. When we're talking about our children, our population are young men 18 to 30 years old who have, their families are already connected to TANF in some way, and they have a recent child support order or some type of order that is in their lives now. When I'm talking about a father's involvement really matters, what we're talking about is that problem area, the earning capacity. Most of these fathers are either not employed or they are underemployed, all right? There's a fear of child support, so they go underground rather than coming above ground and being in their children's lives. There's no safety net. What I say all the time is there's so many programs in Memphis, around the state, I'm sure, across this nation, where there's programs for women and there's programs for children, but there's no programs for men. And at the end of the day, what do? We send those women and children back into the homes with those men. And then we want fathers to understand that they are valued. I don't know how my husband would feel if he thought that I did not value him or his children did not value him. So we want them to feel valued. And we know from a statistical point that children do better when their fathers are involved in their lives. We just know that. That is what we know. So I am so thankful that we have these particular items that we are dealing with within Memphis and Shelby County. Misha, will you talk about our solution?
Absolutely. Thank you, Carol. So Carol talked about the problem, and now I'm going to talk about our solution. Our solution is informed by the focus groups that we conducted in working with men and women on parenting. We've also brought in Dr. Jeffrey Johnson, who is a fatherhood expert, and this team has worked together to design a solution that includes 3 pillars. So there's 3 service pillars to our solution: training and employment services for dads. We want to make sure that dads receive the proper training and employment opportunities that will lift them out of poverty, increase their wages. We want to put them on a trajectory, an upward trajectory. So how do we do that? Well, during the planning phase, we took a look at local labor data, and we just looked at 4 different sectors in the Memphis area, and we will be focused on those sectors in helping dads increase their income, because we know that if dad can make enough to take care of his children and to take care of himself, then he'll be more engaged and involved in the family. We want to return dads to their families. The next thing is improved support for low-income dads, so they can pay their child support consistently. We know this is a problem. As Carol talked about, dads being underground. And so Maximus is the child support operator in Memphis, Tennessee. We have partnered with Families Matter to make sure that we can educate dads on the child support system. We want to remove the fear and the stigma of child support. We want to get dads to pay in their child support more consistently. Next thing is the increased capacity for healthy parents. We are unapologetic about our approach to work with dads and to work with fathers. Again, we want to restore the value of the father to the family. And so here we will provide fatherhood training. Dr. Johnson will talk more about that. He is the leading expert in fatherhood. We will provide co-parenting, our focus groups. We heard from the moms who said, we want to work with the dads. We need better communication. We need tools, systems, techniques to work with dads. And lastly, mentoring. We have Carol's program currently is operating with mentors that will mentor fathers. So our solution is focused on making sure that dads get the tools and techniques that they need to be better fathers so that they can be emotionally connected to their children. Because we know there's an impact when dad is not in the child's life. And that impact is multi-generational. You want to talk about a two-generational approach? That's what we're focused on.
Thank you, Misha. Now, Dr. Jeff, will you share our innovations with this group?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. There's a popular saying, you either innovate or you evaporate. What we have created in Affirm is an innovative fatherhood intervention with an eye on replication in the state and nation that incorporates the best knowledge we have about community-based fatherhood programs in the past with new features, including a focus on intentionality on low-income fathers, proactive intervention with child support. Affirm addresses the three pillars that Misha referred to earlier. Affirm is addressing the need and is accountable for all three of these impact areas. Decentralized services in 6 trusted community partner sites spread throughout Memphis and Shelby County in neighborhoods where fathers live. We are going to where fathers are, reducing the need for transportation, reducing the mistrust that's associated with going outside of the community to receive services. As you can see, our model from the presentations thus far align very well with 2 of the TANF goals, and that is promoting job preparation and work, and also the formation and maintenance of 2-parent families. We also, you can see that our innovation addresses the Tennessee goals that you see presented here on the slide.
All right, our collaborative partners and their roles. Families Matter, the organization where I have the privilege of being the executive director. We have already built relationships within Memphis communities. In fact, some of our partners just presented and will be presenting later on today. All right. And so we have a project headquarters. We do fatherhood training at Families Matter. What we do is as I just spoke with the commissioner about, I lead the organization, but I believe that men train men. So we have that population of men that's working with those men to enhance, to educate, and to do what they need to do. That's where that existing fatherhood workshops that is already occurring. Misha, will you talk about Maximus and your role?
Yes, Maximus is a part of the collaborative. We bring our operational expertise to this collaborative. We've provided services in Memphis and in Tennessee for over 10 years as an employment partner with the Families First program. And so we're back to work with Affirm and to make sure that fathers get the services that they need. We talked about employment services. We'll be providing that along with Families Matter. The two of us will partner in that area. Performance management, quality assurance, reporting, capturing data, reporting the data, looking at and conducting analysis. We will produce a monthly QA report, which will review all of the critical areas of the program that we have outlined. We'll also provide fiscal support. Our corporate team will work with Families Matter in this expansion of the program to help provide fiscal support. And we talked about our role as the child support operator in Memphis and how we will support this collaborative and work together to try and make sure they have direct access to the dads who have new child support orders. Dr. Jeff?
As a collaborative partner in our advisory team, we bring with us more than 60 years of combined experience in fatherhood services targeting low-income fathers who are also unmarried and also are fathers of color. Our advisory team brings to a firm the expertise in 5 vital areas, and these are best practices. The 5 Ps: project management, participant knowledge, parent education, professional development and organizational capacity building, and program outcomes.
So when you see our community network, what we're talking about, and we went outside of Memphis in order to get national experts because we wanted to know what is actually going on out there that we can implement and that will help our families, our fathers. Because what we're talking about, this is children. We're talking about children. So we have a plethora of community partners that's currently working with us. So we know that we will do this well. We'll do it right, and we will do it well. Misha, talk about our outcomes.
All right. Thank you, Carol. Our anticipated outcomes are tied directly to those 3 pillar services that we talked about earlier. Increased earning capacity and economic mobility. We will focus on outcomes that are tied to dad's ability to get not just any job, but to get a good job. And that'll be through, as we talked about, experiential learning, on-the-job training, credentialing, certifications. We've partnered with organizations local to Memphis like Code Crew, who will be teaching dads coding. They're one of our main partners, just to give you an example. And we're focused on high-wage jobs for dads. The next outcome we'll be focused on is the increased sustained child support payments. We know that when dad is involved with his children and there's an emotional connection to the family, that dads are more apt to paying child support. As the child support operator in Memphis, again, we will be collaborating with Families Matter and a firm to make sure that dads understand they're educated on their rights, their responsibilities, and holding them accountable to those things, but also making sure that they're paying their child support and they're paying it consistently. Increased capacity for healthy parenting. Here, again, we'll focus on the outcomes that are associated with dad, attending the parenting classes, increasing their skills.
All right, now looking at our budget. Year 1 of the budget is infrastructure. That's where we're building. That's our startup. So we will be building to capacity. We'll be making sure we do all those things to make sure that the project works. So we're building, we're bringing people in. We are hiring new people. We are doing that training that needs to be done so that we're all on the same page. One of the first things we will do is after hiring people is everyone will go through our training initiatives. If you look at year 2, at this point, we are becoming more operational. So we're functioning now. We're beginning to roll things out. We're beginning to talk with those fathers that we need to talk to. We're beginning to bring people into those classes. We're beginning to get the referrals we need because our referrals coming from Maximus, they get over 400 orders per month. Can you imagine? 400 orders per month. So we are That will be our, that's the operational piece. And then when you look at year three, we have more incentives and things going to the fathers. We want them to understand that it is so important that they do this. Why? For themselves and then for their children, so that this is not a repeat in life of what has been done. All right, thank you.
Sustainability. So what's our plan for sustainability? Well, there'll be federal demonstrations grants that'll be available at the conclusion of these 3 years. And we think our results will be rightly positioned to go after those federal demonstration grants. Reinvestment. So the return on the investment for the state. We think our results will also show that, and I just got the red light, our results will show that there will be a financial and substantial financial return on investment for the state. Okay, so you get to read those last two on the slide.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the energy. I'm interested in the first pillar, the training and employment opportunities. Tell me a little more about that. I mean, if you've got a father who's not making any money, and you're telling him he's got to get training, how we're going to support him while he's getting training?
Well, that's part of our budget. When you looked at the slide, is that the stipends, we will be providing weekly stipends to fathers that go through the program. We understand that fathers need support while going through training. And as a part of our focus group, it's a great question, because that was one of our questions to fathers. You know, why do you not take advantage of training opportunities? And we heard resoundingly that they need support as they're going through training.
What, from your perspective, is innovative or different about this approach than the current order?
Again, I've been a part of every major fatherhood demonstration since 1991. What's innovative about this is the partnership with child support, particularly in connecting fathers when an order has just been established. Most fatherhood programs run away from child support because they don't understand child support. A lot of agencies who work with families, you notice that they don't even mention child support because they don't understand it. But that is the issue, particularly for TANF families. What is the issue with the low-income father? So that's innovative. The other thing that's innovative, because of a myriad of complications in neighborhoods, transportation being one, a lot of the services are outside of the community. And so what we've done through Affirm is identify 6 trusted community partners as part of our service delivery system. And so fathers can go right to one of those 6 service programs that are within 5-mile radius of each other to receive those services. That's innovation. And so those things are critical in the sense of really trying to be successful in reducing poverty, but at the same time achieving the goal of getting fathers engaged. Don't underestimate the significance of the relationship with child support. There is nobody doing that. Previous demonstrations have worked with child support, but they have worked with child support once child support orders have been so huge that they've not been able to get fathers to be able to pay past arrears and to meet their current orders. What we're doing is meeting fathers at the gate when a child support order is being established, so that it's a order that fits him in the right way, or right size order. And it will, but I want everybody to know that we fundamentally believe that every father who owes child support should pay. We just need to make sure that people understand that there's a difference between a deadbeat dad and a dead broke dad, a term that I created back in 1998.
And the other thing, that we're doing within our model, what we are doing also is working with the moms. So those moms that's attached to those fathers that come into the sessions, we want those moms to come in too. And there will be like a parallel class so that they began to understand the need to have fathers in their children's lives and not be gatekeepers of the fathers from their children.
Let me just make one more point there. In this program, fathers will be enrolled, but mothers will have access to the co-parenting classes. Because what we want at the end, which is not done or even thought about in fatherhood programs history, is including moms, and then, where possible, having co-parenting agreements established as a result of the work that you're doing with mom and dad. There's no program like this in America. It's not been tried in any of the work I've done over the last 30 years.
Talk about the return on investment for the state.
The return on investment is essentially the fact that what you have, when you have fathers paying into their child support system, these are also fathers who become taxpayers. And what we're trying to do is make fathers taxpayers as opposed to tax burdens. The state is already paying for these fathers in terms of going after them to pay child support. If they're not going after them paying child support, they're paying for their incarceration. What we're trying to do is alleviate all of that by meeting these fathers. And what we're going to do is create a culture of partnership between community-based organizations and child support that can be replicated in any jurisdiction in the state of Tennessee. Because there is a child support office in every jurisdiction, but they need community-based partnerships to connect the whole family, and the whole family includes mothers and fathers and children.
That's our two
So just a quick question. How many people do you think you'll be able to serve? How many fathers do you think you'll be able to serve?
Fathers, you want to take it?
No, you can't.
Fathers, 1,700. But we anticipate our impact will be as wide as 5,100 families, as we've talked about. Of course, you know, we got to do a lot of outreach, engagement, get them involved. And when you think about it, that 1,700 fathers is based on an analysis with 1.3 children. Now we know there's no such thing as 1. I don't know, that 0.3 of the children, but that is what lets us know that we could go wider and deeper in our impact.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. As a pediatrician, I love this family-based approach. You may have said it and I could have missed it. How long is the training program? And then the second part of the question is, have you figured out how much the stipend is, and what is so I guess 3-part question. Sorry, my husband says I do that to him all the time. What is the accountability on the back end? I mean, saying it in a more crude way, what keeps them from getting the stipend and then taking off?
Accountability. So let me go through. Give me 3. So 150 to 200 a week for the stipend for the dad that is participating in the program, and we will be monitoring, tracking participation in relation to that stipend. What was number 2? There was how long is the training? 16 weeks. You want to talk about that, Dr. 16 weeks, but you can break down the code.
Right, it's 16 weeks, and so what we'll be doing, we'll have an integrated program because, again, fathers are enrolled, mothers have access. And so what we'll do is fathers will go through 8 weeks of fatherhood, and then they will go through 8 weeks of relationship education that's going to move towards some type of co-parenting agreement, either in a documented form or at least on videotape. The other part that's integrated here is the mother's access to go through the parenting and the co-parenting program as well. And so what you have is mothers going through another 16 weeks, 8 weeks of motherhood, 8 weeks of motherhood education, and then 8 weeks of relationship education. It's so critical to understand that the reason why you have to use an integrated approach is, one, you want to make sure that you don't connect mothers and fathers who don't need to be connected because of domestic violence, those types of things. The other thing you want to do is to make sure that the mothers and fathers have their own time to reflect and to talk about the issues of their lives with other people like them. Fathers talk to fathers, mothers talk to mothers. And then the final 8 weeks on relationship education, where possible, we're going to bring those couples together to talk about how do we now move towards a healthy co-parenting relationship, something that we learned through the focus groups that both mothers and fathers want to do. Amen.
And with one of our community partners that's actually in this room, for those that we can, that will move towards each other so that their children really benefit, they will become a part of Becoming One, which is a part of another organization that I won't mention because they were just up here, but so that we can move forward and so that children are better. Remember, this is all about our children. Because when children do not see healthy relationships, they then have a tendency not to have healthy relationships. And so they perpetuate. It's a cycle. It's a never-ending cycle. We want to stop that. We want to stop that. And in Memphis and Shelby County, it's huge. Over 75% of our homes are ran by women. So it's huge. So we have to do something to get these fathers involved with their children and with those mothers on a relationship basis that is non-violent.
I just also want to say that I've had work experience in Memphis over the last 2 decades. There's no program like this in Memphis and Shelby County. There's just not. So it feels a present void. And I will submit to you that working with both mothers and fathers and their children is part of the design. And that to work with families, wherever possible, you need to have mothers and fathers who love them, folks who we love are in the lives of children, helping them develop to reach their highest human potential. There are no throwaway ages. There are no throwaway ages. And what we want to do is teach parents how to be the best parents they can be under their circumstances so that they can contribute to their children, and then their children will contribute to their children, the multi-generational context, and that those children will also have every opportunity to reach their highest human potential.
Dr. Jeff?
Nothing like this. You said in Memphis, but
Across the country.
In the country, nothing like it.
And you guys hear our passion, right? We're very passionate about this. Both Carol and I both come from homes without our fathers. So when we say that a father's involvement matters, that's what we mean. So thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you to the panel for allowing us to have this opportunity.
We're not finished with questions.
You got 4 minutes. We're going to use it all. So
I was trying to get off now.
whenever I get excited, I can't sit still.
So you can't sit still?
And y'all got me moving. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the innovative approach that you're bringing. Something that we want to hear, I want to hear, and I think that some of our intent of this legislation was to hear about the ability to replicate.
Yes.
And we're talking about Memphis right now, but give me a little bit, and Dr. Johnson, I think you mentioned it, and ma'am, you did too.
Ms. Jackson.
Ms. Jackson, yes, thank you. Tell me a little bit about the vision to replicate this. 95 counties unique in and of themselves, working with district attorneys' offices. Just tell me your vision of replication.
Here you go. First of all, would you agree, just give me a call response, would you agree there are fathers in every community?
Amen.
Would you agree that there's child support in every jurisdiction?
Amen.
Would you agree that there are community partners and agencies in every jurisdiction?
Yes.
That's our formula. And we are doing this at a time when the job market is pretty good. And so our ability to focus on wage growth jobs right now, particularly in jobs that don't require more than a high school diploma, which is the current demographic of our population, is very critical right now. And so that is something that's happening all over the state of Tennessee right now. And so those things are things that you can replicate. The thing that we also do through the capacity building, we can train you how to work with mothers, we can train you how to work with fathers, we can train you how to do healthy co-parenting in every community in America, in every jurisdiction in the state. Those are the ingredients for replication.
Thank you.
All right, then. What I will say is thank you all. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Advisory Board. Thank you, all of you, for listening to us. We believe that this is very important as far as going forward for our families across, particularly right now in Memphis and Shelby County, but going across the state to do this. So thank you so very much.